see you.
Old man.
Apple.
Hey, Dad.
Wow. Hey, I didn't throw it in.
Wow, 80. I'm gonna miss that one. You better not have another one, 80.
Yeah.
Good.
Look at that, Frank.
You got it. Come around. Yep. The beautiful part is all you people here, you might not know me, but I'm fortunate enough to know or hear of you all because we do communicate with Mom and Dad as often as I can.
That's right.
And the beautiful part is they share that you all are a part of their life. So what we've said, especially to anyone at this table, you're part of the family. So with that said, have fun, push people around, be sloppy. For the family, we've known this guy, some will say too long, but he's been such a part of our lives and such a fixture of strength, stability, and consistency that my father is the person or the role model that we may not be identical and may be far from it, but the values that we share have been transmitted to our kids, my son, as he's done with his family, and we know now that these values will continue on. And the legacy of Elliot Rivera and Anna Rivera is through the grandchildren. As we know, it's life that continues. And this man right here, still working, but as steady and as consistent as a person can live a life is how I look at my father. And that's the part that I embrace. And every time we talk about celebrations with my dad, we all know that we all have limitations and we're not perfect, but what we strive for in life is to be consistent and maintain ethics. And that has never wavered with this man. Now, who knows what happens at 81? He could go over. But right now, he is still as he was from the beginning. That's what I can say with my dad. I mean, if I go home now, and I'm yelling so he can hear me, maybe. But I still got to make the bed. Okay? That was one thing. If you ever came to the house, you're making that bed before you even leave the bedroom. Okay? Never. Shoes are going to be aligned. I'd have to have my shoes lined. So, but that's part of how he is. That's Elliot. And the other thing that we know, even though it is his day, that Elliot and Anna are a team. And that's the one thing that both have for each other. And that devotion comes from him and her. And that's what we're thankful for all of you, because this is a team. This is his celebration, but together they've spent a lot of time together. The grandchildren have stories that they can share with you, and please ask them, because they're all true. They have no reason to lie, remember. And they've got wonderful stories. The Lopez's, they've known my father when they took their first bath. So, any questions, anything you have, they'll know too. So, the emphasis is, as my brother said, mingle, get to know everybody, because you know the lightning rod, and then branch out, because we're all part of him, and he's extended himself to all of us. So again, thank you so much for coming. I hope it's not 50 years. I'm going to do the prayer. Dad's going to pray. That'll be another 10 minutes.
I'll pray.
So, but I want to say thank you for again. Have a good time, and I'll be talking more.
Wave table, wave. Did you get enough?
So, where was Elliot born? Arecibo.
Puerto Rico's a little too general to give you credit.
Arecibo.
It's a small island. That's good enough.
All right. How many siblings does Elliot have?
A few.
A few. A little too broad again. How many? 3, 5.
I know the answer. Brett.
6, 7.
I thought he was one of 7.
7.
7. All right. What branch of the military did Elliot serve in?
Army.
Marines.
She's got it. Yeah. Marines.
Army Reserve, National Guard. So any of those are right.
Any combination.
Oh, I put Navy.
It's close.
Try. The only one.
Name the 4 grandchildren. Name 2 of his previous or current employers.
Long Acre,
Westchester.
Pillsbury.
Lawmaker.
Pillsbury.
Pillsbury.
Craft bus.
Craft bus. What was the name of his boat? Vida Buena. How many years has he been married to Grandma? 58. 58? 58, soon to be 59.
So the question I guess we would share with regards to Dad is his place, as you saw it, as the pastor, with him as a deacon, the contributions, or how you felt he helped, right there. If you could share that, that'd be great.
We helped build a new church.
You guys helped build it from the beginning? Okay.
Yeah, we started about 78. We built the church in 1980.
And this was the Lighthouse Gospel Tabernacle as where it is now, as we know.
But Elliot's consistency on the board, and his, Elliot was a contributor, very faithful.
And then Anna was the board secretary.
Yes.
Always late for meetings.
Right.
Never on time.
But the association is that Dad was late too, because he was bringing them. he was on time, but he would always get the late time. Right.
He would, but totally faithful.
And he was like the lead usher. Pop would always be like the usher, the lead usher for you guys,
And always
right?
make people feel at home that came to the church.
Very friendly.
Very friendly.
Yeah.
We spent many days over at their house.
Eating rice and beans.
That's right. That's still the mainstay. Lucky you. We wish we could have had that. And I think that the relationship that they had with Mom and Dad is that Mom and Dad were 100% in your corner and then some. And it was important because he was coming into a situation that was very volatile. And my respect and adoration for Mr. Clark, and I get emotional, is he kept that truth together. And that's what was important. And the congregation itself became people. They stopped being a congregation. And the emphasis that Mr. Clark brought, Pastor Clark, was that we were a family, we were a body. And the body had to be restored. And that's what he did and brought to it. And my admiration for that was he came aboard as a regular man. He didn't put himself as, I'm Billy Graham, and you people are going to listen to me. He said, I'm here with you, and I'm going to help you. So that's where Mom and Dad...
That was our first church.
Right, and that's where that was your first church? That I didn't know. So that's where Mom and Dad had to be in their corner, because that church was really our church, because it initially started.
In one of my former churches, I had an old man who fought in World War I for Germany. He was German. And he said to me one day, Pastor Clark, I am with you through thick and thin. But when it gets thick, I tin out. But Mom and Dad have always stuck with us. Whenever it got thick, they held together and always loyal, very helpful, very encouraging. They've always been good friends, and still are.
Yes, and that's what we enjoy, is that they still are, and that's the important part. And you've known Dad since when?
99, whenever they joined.
Trinity's the church? You guys have met since there? And you traveled with him or no?
Right, yeah, we've traveled a couple of times.
And actually they've made the airports on time?
Yes, they have.
And everything is good, right? You guys check everything, right? Can you share a story when you travel?
I kind of lived with what was he going to say?
We're so thrilled. We always made sure
When they couldn't help us with the menus in
Spain, right.
Because they were in Spanish?
Yes.
I don't understand.
That was what they
Oh, that's what they said. No Corinthia. All right.
Margie will have to share that. We got a contract.
You're being recorded.
Okay.
Oh, you're recording it.
I have the video.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Yep.
No editing. You're
I was
live.
very unhappy when they came to Spain with us that they couldn't help me with the Spanish menus. That's correct.
My story is that we were on the bus in Spain, and everybody was concerned about Elliot because he was always wandering off and doing his own thing like usual. And he was the one that everybody was concerned for, but he was the only one who knew where he was all the time. And he was like the mascot for the bus. It really made the group grow together as fun because everybody was interested in Elliot. He was the bus go-team Elliot.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lean to the left. Lean to the right. Sit down. Stand up. Fight, fight, fight.
I kept that one clean, Danny.
The frog impression.
We have someone here, so.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I told you not to do that. You cannot move to Dallas now. You're out. I don't know how to do Kermit. I just said I'm not green.
I'm listening. I'm not green.
All right. Okay.
Anybody want to beat that? That's not bad.
I only know how to introduce. Okay. Let's hear it.
It's not the greatest. So he always used to say on the Muppet Show, "Hello, this is Kermit."
That's really good.
Time too, and again, the church is part of the association with Ken and Rita.
Next month will be 40 years.
40 years, that's amazing stuff. So we're always looking for, what do you have, an antidote that you can
I
pass
can
along that sticks in your
always
head?
remember Elliot keeping all the kids in line. If Elliot was around, they were like little soldiers.
And it didn't matter what age, too. We're
Didn't
talking all
matter
the way
what
up to 18.
age. Yeah. And to be in the car with him was taking your life in your hands because he never needed directions. He always said he knew how to get there.
Well, you
remember
get somewhere. but we
Yeah,
didn't
he
know
got
where.
somewhere, just not
And when we
where-
pick up kids for Sunday school on the bus, he said everyone will be ready at 9 o'clock. We got 20 stops.
Exactly. Everybody had to be ready, too, right?
They had to be ready.
The one with the Bryans I'll always remember is when you were living in Red Hill at the townhouse, you had us over for dinner. And Kenny made Texas chili. And for me, I don't know, I was probably maybe 12, 13. And it was the hottest chili I ever had in my life. I mean, I couldn't even really eat it. So I had to have bread. I don't even know if you remember this.
I don't remember it.
Kenny made it. It was so hot. And I guess Mom and Dad both did down. But
Yeah.
I had to have bread on top of bread.
We always
So,
like going out to eat with them. We'd always find a really good restaurant to eat at.
they were eaters.
Yeah, and they were always there for us. We had a problem with our heat in the townhouse.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
And in the middle of the night, we asked if we could come over and keep warm, and they gave us their bed, and we were friends forever.
Is that kind of what started it?
Happy birthday, dear Elliot. Happy birthday to you.
Got it?
Blow the candles out.
Make a wish.
Oh, make a wish.
Make a wish now and blow the candles. Don't sit on the cake.
Wish that the cochlear implants work.
Wish that his teeth stand.
Don't spit on me.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
John Lopez, of course, one of the family cousins. But we discussed about the boat. You know the boat? The first yacht that the Riveras had? It was the Chincho to sail. So what happened when you guys, like, you got together for a family weekend and Chincho said I can make a boat?
Yeah. And so Elliot bought the supply, and we started making the boat in the garage. Yep.
How long did it take to make it?
You know, I can't remember that. It did take a while. It didn't make it into the water. Like this much of the boat was not in the water. We went to Green Lane. That's where we did the boat.
We put the boat into Green Lane. So the boat goes in the water in 6. Now, did you guys ever get in the boat?
You know, I don't remember that.
I don't think anybody got in. I think there's a picture maybe of you guys. Leonard, I think, is in the picture. Your dad.
Probably,
Leonard. And he's like a ship ahoy. And it was like this. But we found out part of the problem was the fiberglass. They didn't put the fiberglass all the way around. They only put it on the very bottom. Something like that. Hey, the boat story. This is an actual person who helped build the boat.
I was there.
You helped build the boat?
I helped build the
there.
boat.
The wood boat that
Yeah,
makes
we
water
didn't talk
festival.
about it.
Yes.
My question was, why didn't it float?
Why didn't it float? Did you know why it didn't float?
I just found out the fiberglass.
Right, the fiberglass is only on the bottom and it has to go up the sides because it's also exposed to the water. But would you help him put the boat on the car? Did you hear that story?
Oh no!
I mean, it weighed 250 pounds and he would put it on the car, the LTD, by himself. And it was so heavy, the top of the LTD started to cave in. And my dad was like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. So we drove over, I'm like, I don't like this at all.
What were we talking about?
So, out of all the stories we have with Grandma and Grandpa, usually they involve traveling. Not actually getting to the destination and having the vacation, but getting there.
It's the journey.
Like to start with.
I mean, the one
I think-
that sticks out is the Myrtle Beach trip.
Myrtle Beach, definitely. That was something. That was one for the books.
I've never played so much Nintendo's in my life.
Myrtle Beach is supposed to be a 6-hour drive, I think, from
6 or 7.
Pennsylvania. 6 or 7. It took us about
Half an hour.
11.
12, yeah. It took
It's like
about
we're like a half an hour from there.
Yep. We ate dinner at 10:30.
Is that at the bar?
No, that was Pizza Hut.
I took a picture of it.
Oh yes, we stopped at a bar to ask for directions. And
Took a picture.
Grandpa
That was the
took our
halfway
picture.
in. Though we're actually lost, we have to find out.
Yep. We were going an hour in the wrong direction down Business Route 70.
Not actually, Route 17.
That's what we were looking for.
Outside of Baltimore, and the tire blew out.
Oh, that was the same trip?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the worst trip then. I thought it was the same one.
Everything that could have happened happened now.
So that was the first time we've ever changed a tire, I'm pretty sure, unless you're a...
Yep.
Yeah, we got
Justin and Cal were pit
12,
crew.
10 or 12.
Picture, I was asleep. What were you doing?
I don't know.
Playing on our DS, probably.
Yeah, for sleep.
So then you wake up with the same sound, or I woke up with the same sound of Mira!
Yeah, anybody have a ring on? Mira.
Grandpa, that was a good one for Grandpa because if we crashed and died, that would ruin my vacation.
What's that? Was that the trip that he started falling asleep at the wheel?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
way back.
Going like
wasn't it?
100. And then he got mad that she woke him up. And she said he's doing fine.
Well, no, it's every time he would start falling
Mira, you're
asleep,
going 100! We were just, we could have died.
And then Grandma got behind the wheel and he woke up.
And he was
The only
wide
thing-
awake.
The only thing that stopped him from falling asleep was Grandma's driving.
Probably can't blame him.
That was, weren't you like driving to our house here one time with Grandpa and like you got hit by like a tractor trailer or something?
Oh, yeah. That was.
Wait, what?
That was
You
like.
don't remember that? It took out all the glass in
I
Grandpa's
was like.
car.
Yeah, it was like 8.
Yeah,
We were just sitting at a stoplight and got rear-ended.
Yeah.
That wasn't really his fault.
No, it wasn't his fault,
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking about like driving stories now.
No, well, I don't think either of you two remember this, but I remember we stopped at a gas station, for gas, and Grandpa's like, we can make this yellow light, and it was not yellow. It was definitely red. And as he starts pulling out, there's this huge truck.
Wait, the truck with the teeth?
The truck with the teeth.
I remember that.
Speeding straight at us.
Wait, no, Cal was sitting like on that side, wasn't he?
I must
Or
have
was
walked
that
this
you?
out.
Somebody was sitting on like the far right side. And wasn't Dad in the car with us? And that 18-wheeler with teeth painted on the front. Just,
Had to eat him.
we almost died. I feel like we can't go on vacation
We have
without
one-
some story being, we almost died.
One near miss per vacation is usually what we go for.
Yep. To that time when we were going to see the Chinese acrobats in Branson, and there was our
We ended up in
hotel,
Kentucky.
and there was the Chinese acrobats, and we could have gone
I got there the
left
next day.
for about 10 minutes and then made a right turn right into where the Chinese acrobats were. Grandpa made a right, claimed he was taking a shortcut, and in about half an hour later we saw a sign that was like Kentucky 18 miles, and we were like,
I thought it was just welcome to Kentucky.
no, we didn't actually get to Kentucky, but there were signs for Kentucky, and we were like, oh my god, we're never making it to the Chinese acrobats.
Well, we still got to catch the end of the show.
Yeah, we
The
made
second half.
it. We made it in like
It only took
almost
half an
an
hour
hour
before they realized, we were in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that was a good one. But we love them.
Yeah.
They were always fond memories. We just can't tell our parents.
Actually, I got to know him through driving truck. We drove truck, same company, same same departments. That's how I got to know him. And you know how when you meet somebody, you either connect or you don't.
That's
and
right.
So Ellie was one that I connected with, and we used to hit it off pretty well. And like you said, he was very steady, held to his commitment. I mean, you definitely aren't going to change his ideas.
You tried?
Which was a good
Wait,
thing.
you tried?
I think at first.
Okay.
So it was a good thing. And so we hit it off, and I had different apartments I had. And when we get done early, sometimes Ellie and I would get done at the same time. So we'd say, hey, you doing anything? Come on over. He'd give me a hand over at the house, and which in turn I gave him a hand up at his house. In fact, we did the deck in the back and did the roofing.
The deck on the back with no railing? That was your deck? Okay, exactly.
No, he dug the holes.
Okay.
Anyway, Ellie was really fun to work with, and a couple incidents I remember. I guess Anna, we got done before, we were working there before Anna got home. So she said, Ellie, make sure you put the chicken on, at a certain time. Well, of course, Ellie forgot.
Forgot what?
To put the chicken on. I was supposed to have the chicken in for dinner. I'm like, why don't you just stick it in the microwave? I mean, it's like a half hour before it's supposed to be ready. I said, just put it in the microwave. He said, good idea.
Okay, we're good so far.
Anyway, it didn't work.
Okay.
Somehow, a whole chicken doesn't get done in the microwave in like 10 minutes. So anyway, a lot of good memories like that. So we just had fun together. And one other thing, at my house, I always had a wood stove. So all we had to do, I could get Elliot in the living room there in about 5 minutes. He'd be snoring, had the fire burning, and he'd soon be just relaxed and enjoyed it. The fire wouldn't put anybody to sleep, but Elliot was great at that. He was sitting there snoring, actually.
Yeah?
Within probably 5-10 minutes. That was how our visits went, but they were very good.
And the snoring.
Say this, but I noticed that when Sanford became in charge of scheduling, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Elliot stopped getting assignments to bad sections of Philly.
There you go.
And I really appreciated that. Yeah, because he had been held up in Philly once, and it never happened after Sanford took over. Good friend,
The driver that got that route, may he rest in peace now.
Some of the family members would always go camping every year. So one year we went to Vermont, and it was my sister, Stephanie, and myself, and it was Titi Medi. And we were all staying in a tent. And one night, I wasn't dreaming, but I got really scared to tears, and I woke up Titi Medi because I swore that there was a bear outside. It's no exaggeration when I tell you that I was shaking, and Titi Medi was like, I'm gonna go look. Just stay. She was always good at keeping us calm. We were young. And she said, I'm gonna go look and find out. And sure enough, there was no bear. She said, that's just Uncle Elliot. That's just Now, we're not talking baby bear. We're not talking Winnie the Pooh. We're talking like a grizzly. Like really serious. So that's my story on Uncle Elliot's snoring.
Good.
And number two, all the Lopez, all the family knows about how Uncle Elliot always made sure you ate your food on your plate. And he would call you out in front of everybody to the point where, I don't know, it was pretty high anxiety. It was like, we're going to Deanna's house, what is Uncle Elliot gonna say? Who's not eating?
That's funny.
And the other story was church, because you didn't pass a note in church. Whether you're a relative, whether you were not related, he was always amazing. He had better eyes than Superman. From all the way in the back, he could see you passing. It didn't matter how discreet. You could try it under, you could try it behind. He knew you were passing a note, or he would just walk very slowly, very reverent, like he does. And he'd be like this. And it didn't matter if the pastor was preaching. Sure enough, he would call you out, and you would hear his voice call you out and say, put it away.
Well, Elliot and I are not family, but we're brothers in the Lord.
Amen.
And a couple things, 3 things I want to share with you. And one pertains to Elliot. We served together on the board at Trinity Assembly of God. And whenever it would come up for a motion, if you know Elliot really well, you know he can't hear. right? So he has no concept, no idea what's going on in emotion, but he's our second. He seconds every motion. So it's like, do we have support? Elliot? There's our support. When we, there were 16 of us that went with Elliot and Anna on a cruise to Greece. Princess Cruise Lines, okay? We were on the ship, and 4, 5, 6 days out. Where's Elliot? Where's Elliot? He's doing the laundry on Princess Cruise Line. We had a port in Corfu, Greece, and this pertains to Elliot and Anna and Elliot. We were in Corfu, Greece. Anna gets it in her mind that she has to mail a postcard to Junior. We go down this street, we go down that street, we go down this street. Talk to this police officer, we talk to this person. Where's the post office? We get to the post office after about 14-mile walk. We're in the post office, we have to stand in line, it's a different system, we have to stand in line to get the stamp, okay? So she's about a half hour getting the stamp. Then she comes back after getting the stamp and said, now I have to write the postcard to Lenny. Then she has to stand in line again to mail it. There. Did you get your postcard?
Yes.
Good.
Benji, Uncle Elliot's niece by marriage. However, he has never made me felt any less than his niece, Titi Anna, and Uncle Elliot has, from the moment Benji brought me home, he has embraced me totally. He would always say, hi, Olinia, how you doing? It's good to see you. And it's always with a big smile. And of course, we have some wonderful sons, and they too have embraced my sons. Never felt like an outsider at all. And one of the things, I'm gonna get a little bit emotional right now, but one of the things that my husband always say, even though Uncle Elliot is his uncle, he's his best friend. They've had a lot of memories, and I know Benji wish he could be here now, but they've had a lot of memories together. They went to, drawing a blank right now, the Guard together, and they had a lot of memories. And of course with Titi Anna, you know, I appreciate the love both Uncle Elliot and Titi has given to me as an outsider coming in. And he's like one of my favorite uncles ever. So I just thank you for all the love that you guys has given to us over the years. And we had some funny times where the kids could tell you more than I can. But thank you so much. We love you very much.
I know Uncle Elliot since I was about maybe 5, 6, something like that, years old. My father died when I was 16. The only other male person who I could look up to. And I got 3 other uncles, 3 or 4 other uncles in Florida. But the only one that I can call my uncle is Elliot, yes. I'm getting there too. The only other person who I can call a male good figure for me was my Uncle Elliot. And everybody knows him as a firm man, a stand-up Christian. He was, he is, and always will be. It doesn't change. That computer up here, nobody can touch it, only God, okay? So he is what he is since he was probably young, okay? He's a strong character, and I like that about him. the only one that I would look at as a grown-up was Uncle Eddie. And I can say that I love him a lot. I love him a lot. And I can say that I could say that God bless you and keep you until he goes.
Mention the 3 times.
And there's a few times that, as a strong character that he was, and that he is, there was 3 times where it shook me as an adult, 35, 40 years old. It shook me. 3 times that I saw my Uncle Elliot cry. Only 3 times that I saw him. He does. Most men don't, and sometimes we do, but I only saw him 3. To see a strong man like him to cry, it took an awful lot. Number 1, he cried when my mother passed away. I saw it. He cried when his wife, my Aunt Anna, was in the hospital getting surgery on her heart. We sat, Lenny was there. We sat at that table in the waiting room, and he just couldn't hold it no more. And the 3rd time he cried, we had a special occasion. Something had occurred in the church. Pastor Clark was there at the time. And we had 2 ministers or 2 missionaries, or as my wife called them, and I, angels, because they came to our church. They'd never been to our church. They came to our church, and they saw the situation that was going on in our church. And my Uncle Elliot ran and cried. Those are 3 times when you see a strong character. We're talking about a man that there's nothing between him and God. Nothing. It's him and God, and everybody else is 2nd and 3rd. But there's only him and God. To see that man cry, I said, something is shaken. But I love him so much. He will always be my only uncle. I have others on my father's side, but the only man that I know, and took my first bathing lessons at NBI, Northeast Bible Institute at that time. Now it's Valley Forge University. Okay, he was teaching me how to take showers in the campus, right on campus. So we share a few good moments together. Thank you for that.
I'm sorry, 55. So Elliot and I are in the same life group together, and we meet a couple times a month. And I don't know if you know Elliot well, but late in the evening, he gets this little feedback on his earpiece. Scream! And he fiddles with it a little bit, gets it to come down. So I'm leading the group one night, and it's getting late. Next thing I know, I say, Elliot, what do you think? He goes, scream! And he's fiddling with, can never find out what Elliot's thinking. But then later that night, I said, Elliot, would you close in prayer? And in 15 minutes, I said, the sermon's over, Elliot. This guy can pray up a storm. And talk about a man of God. He is that. And he is more. And he is loving and compassionate. And as long as you can get through his ears, you will be blessed.
Somber. But on the morning that I resigned my pastorate at Lighthouse Tabernacle, this man was tuned into the Spirit of God. And I won't describe to you what it was that happened, but he had the mind of God. There have been many times when I had to listen close to to what Elliot was saying. But this time I heard what he was feeling, and it was spirit to spirit. He has a godly character, as most of you have testified already, and his love for God has never ceased. And I think that's what makes his love for people, is because of the love of God. And I shared something before about a man who fought in World War I on the side of Germany, an elderly man, and I went to visit him one day, and he said, Pastor Clark, I am with you through thick and thin, but when it gets thick, I tin out. But in all my years of knowing this beautiful couple, they have always stuck with me. Whenever it got thick, it never got thin with them. And I've appreciated their love, not only for God, but for their family and for all of you in this room. And I've come to realize that one of the reasons that Anna was always late for a church business meeting was because Elliot was driving.
When we moved back to Pennsylvania in 1982, for those of you who are not Latin American, you got to understand that family is everything, and it's fairly matriarchal. So the senior relative, everything is said, all the decisions, all the discussions, all the tough family things that come up. But whenever you celebrate a holiday, you always go to that family's house. And that family's house was Anna and Elliot's family house. And Orlinia can tell you, you know, you marry into this family, thick or thin or good or bad, you're part of the family. Amen. And you know, you don't have to be Puerto Rican to be part of this family. So we would always get together. We're still getting together. There are mandatory holidays that we get together, and there is no invitation. Your butt better be there. and you will be there, and you will participate, and you will bring your part. And word to the wise, if it's a food line, always get in front of Lenny. Because you ain't getting any if Lenny's in front of you, so always make sure Lenny's in the back. But Elliot was always there. You know, you might gather. You are gathering now that we're a little bit odd, a little bit excitable. We can carry on, and we can pretty much overwhelm just about anybody. And we come all streaming in, the whole family, for all our family occasions. And Elliot was there. First thing he did was he'd ask you, "You want coffee?" So the answer is yes. Say yes. So you always want coffee. Me and John, we're always there for our coffee. So we're the coffee brothers for Elliot. And as we're carrying on, telling stories, eating, Elliot's always back there. He's like a firefighter. He's back there doing everything that's needed, keeping stuff flowing, being real quiet. And he's one of those husbands that I've learned from. I learned several things from Elliot. Number one, in a marriage, I get the last word. Yes, dear. Number two, in a marriage, I run the house. The dishwasher, vacuum cleaner, and iron. Now, if you look back, you know, what's, you know, if you look at Anna's original maiden name, in Spanish, it's actually the Spanish word for right, and Anna actually means always. So, and Anna was always right. And he would always, like you said, he would always give the prayer before we ate. And we'd cut him off, especially me and Lenny, because we don't like cold food. Cut off Elliot. But, you know, it's interesting, even though he married into the family, it's like he's been there all along. And for those of you who have married into this family, or will marry into the family, this is what you're getting. You're getting this whole room full of people. But I'll tell you, Elliot has been a relative all along. And in my life, when we went away from Pennsylvania and these holidays would come and go, it wasn't a holiday.
It became a holiday again when we moved back in 1999 and showed up again for the mandatory holiday. It was like nothing, we had skipped nothing. It was still the same. We're still family and we still love each other. And all family events, good events, bad events, we're always together. And this guy, you know, he fits in pretty good. and even when he can't hear you, he pretends he does. In fact, I figured something out. Elliot, you should sue the people who invented the bobblehead because you were the first bobblehead. And I got to tell you, I had no brothers. I had all sisters. And I was the eldest. That's why most of the time I can talk to the girls. But in my life, I estimate I have 2 brothers. And they're right there. So even though they're my cousins, they're also my little brothers. And I had season tickets to his football games at Ursinus. And then when my son Paul would run out on the field, Laney would let him carry his helmet. And he looked like that guy from one of those Warner Brothers cartoons, because when my son put it on, all you could see were his feet. So, you know, to come back and move to Pennsylvania and suddenly dovetail in, it's not like we're cousins. It's like we're first relatives, like we're brothers. And she's our aunt, and she's our matriarch. And Elliot is back there making the show happen. So I can't imagine New Year's Day. I can't imagine Easter. I can't imagine family get-togethers. And frankly, every time I eat, too. I remember the family, and I remember rule number 1, which you now know, be in front of land.
This is really beautiful that we are here today to celebrate Uncle Elliot's 80th birthday. Elliot has been in my life for 46 years. I'm going to be married to Joe 46 years. It was a challenge for me to actually come into this family because my family was brothers here and there, but I really never grew up with my family. I really never had my father or my mother close by. And so for me, when I met Anna and met Elliot, it was the most wonderful thing that I can say that somebody was there for me. When I got married, I had no mother, no father that was with me. Joe had lost his dad, and Joe's mother was the only one that was around, and she was at the hospital. And I remember Anna fighting with the doctors so they could let her out so that she could come to the wedding. But what I remember so well about Anna and Elliot is how they ran around for us on my wedding day. I had nobody, but they were there doing whatever they did. Her brother decorating the place where we were going to have the wedding. It was amazing to me, the love of this family. And for me today to have Uncle Elliot, and he has been such a faithful servant of the Lord and showing us such an example of how we should live our lives. Although he probably was a very strong man, and maybe some people thought he was so, so strong and whatever, I feel that he has a very gentle spirit within himself. But this is on a funny note. When I first dated Joe, I wasn't supposed to leave my house. But my house was they were very, very strict. You don't stay at nobody's house. You just come to your house, and that was the final point of it. But I remember one time I came to visit Anna, and I knew that yes, from Brooklyn. And we had to come to Anna's house, but I had to leave that day. I had to leave that day. There was no if or buts. I had to get on a bus to go back to New York. And I remember Elliot driving me, and when we got to the bus station, the bus had left. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm gonna die. They're gonna kill me. I'm gonna die. But I remember Elliot taking that car and following that bus. He followed that bus, let me tell you. And his authority, he went in front of that bus. He stopped the bus, and she said, she needs to be home. She needs to go home, so she has to be on this bus. And guess what? I got on that bus, Uncle Elliot. So for me, it has been wonderful. And all the times that we've been together, and it's just been, I thank God for him. I wish you health. I wish you a lot of years. I wish you the most happiest years of your life. And I love you with all my heart.
this is, I'll make it short because this is such an emotional time for me, Elliot. Next month will be 40 years that we met. I think we can all agree here that Elliot is the most humble man you will ever meet, at least one of the most humble. Always there for you, cannot do enough for you. Has such a gentle spirit. Thank you, Elliot.
Well, I'm speaking on behalf of my family because I must say that when the Lord touched the heart of Elliot to move to Pennsylvania to study at the Bible College, and his wife, my sweet Aunt Anna, agreed and supported him, I don't think he had any clue the impact that that move to Pennsylvania was going to make in all of our lives. And so when we look back at that moment and that decision, that was God sent. And so I want to thank Elliot and Anna for making that decision, but Elliot, the man, made that decision to go. I think, and I'm not sure that's the whole story, but they did it with much sacrifice, but with a lot of faith that they were going to be led. And I also want to say that I appreciate growing up and going on my breaks to Pennsylvania and all that I learned in that period of time, and the care and the love that they gave my mom and dad. And I remember one time that I saw my father. My father always wore his hat, long sleeves, you know, he's always properly dressed. And I looked out the window in Pennsylvania, and lo and behold, my father is out there riding this little lawnmower. And I said, oh, something's gonna happen to Elliot. Had instructed him, I think it was Elliot, must have been him. Of course. And my father was happy going around and mowing the lawn. It was a big experience for him because at that time he didn't have a license to drive to begin with. And so that was a wonderful experience, the love that Elliot and Anna have shared with my parents and how much they mean to the Torres family. And I'm sure that, you know, had we been able to write some of those stories, and we should, for the archives. So thank you, Uncle Elliot. Thank you, Aunt Anna. We love you.
Great. Then, most recently, I think, would be when we went to Massanutten. So this was Sydney's first road trip with Grandma and Grandpa.
Showing the stories.
She didn't really have the best experience starting off.
Yeah, so we were driving, and so it's in Virginia. So we were gonna drive like halfway, maybe like 4 or 5, like 4 hours. We would stop, stay over in a hotel, get up the next morning, drive to our destination. So we drive, it's like pretty dark, pretty late, we miss the exit, right? So instead of what most people would do, you'd get off the next exit, get back on, get off the right exit. Grandpa pulls over to the side and goes in reverse. On 95.
Doesn't pull over to the side, he slams on the brakes. So we're on the shoulder.
And reverse. Also, this time is when they had their Mercedes station wagon, and so with 3 of us being teenagers, we didn't want to sit 3. So Julia was in the back, and if you knew the back of that station wagon, she faced backwards. So she was facing the traffic as they're going backwards. So that was an interesting one.
And then we were going to an indoor water park. So that was when the food was crazy expensive. But of course, we were starving. But Grandma had brought peanut butter and jelly for us. But then
Little
I
packets,
believe,
not-
no, I think you thought you had made the sandwiches, but had left them in the hotel room. So we had to go back to the hotel and found out that they were not in fact already made. We had brought peanut butter and jelly, but the peanut butter...
They were like little packets that you steal from. Pieced together to make a sandwich. As you're starving. That was also my.
You didn't steal them.
Oh no, they were like a free hotel breakfast.
Continental.
That was that the terrible bed?
So yes, and this is my first experience of Grandpa snoring. So where we stayed, there was one bedroom with like two like queen size beds. So
And a pull-out couch.
and
for
like a pull-out
Justin.
couch. So Justin, being the only boy, gets the pull-out couch. Julie and I share a bed in the same room as Grandma and Grandpa. I don't think Julie and I slept for a single minute that night from Grandpa's snoring.
Not
All
only were
night.
the beds tilted inward, we had our bear of a grandfather in the same room.
Whole time.
Good
Never a
job.
boring trip.
Well, we made it. We're still here.
And now you guys do the driving.
That's because they've moved on. Would be the Fegleys. We're friends of the church. Henry Fegley was a part of the Lighthouse Gospel Tabernacle, which as far as was conversion. You know, mom and dad helped him and his family come to a realization that they had to change their life. The thing with the Fegleys is that's a family of 7, if not more. And it was something for me, because I didn't know how to deal with 7 kids, you know what I mean? And you have older brothers, younger brothers. So Henry Fegley, he's passed on, is not with us. He would be here if he could. Another one that comes to my mind is Danny Alfieri. The Alfieris was a family of 8, and they were very loud. And again, as an only child, it was fun to be part of that scenario part-time. But the thing with Danny Alfieri and with Henry Fegley was they had a sense of humor. And we all talk about Dad, you know, the military, the strictness. But with his friends who he associated with, that was the sense of humor that I have, my brother has, and that's what he shared with us too. The other person who just passed on that I can't think of right now would be Henry Fegley, the Fegleys, Alfieris, Olivers. Thank you.
Oliver,
Very good.
Hey, Oliver.
Very good. And that would be Pastor Oliver. The Olivers, they came to the church after Clark's, and they also were very much a part of making that church stay. The Olivers part was that Mom grew up with Millie. So that is something, again, where the bond was a family bond, and that helped cement the strength of the church. So those are 3 people who would be here, of course, if they could. We know they're watching over, and it's just commentary so Dad can reflect when he hears this, and remember that those were 3 people that when he was young, not even my age, younger, was influential for the balance of life. And just wanted to make sure that you understand how important they were for me, because they were my play friends. The Fegleys got me in the Little League because Gary played, I think it was, and they allowed me. So that, again, the extended family, people who can't be here, and that's the one thing, again, all you people that are here today, we can't thank you enough, because time is fleeting. You know, I can't tell you I feel 57, but lo and behold, I am. So those are the comments. And again, great time. Continue, please, having fun. Any stories that you have, grab somebody. We'll get the video, and it's important because he is going to play this back. He is going to play it again, and that's what's going to be important for him. He sees everybody here. He feels the love, but now he'll understand actually what was said and how he was the focal point of all of this. So again, thanks everybody, and feel free, please.
I can tell you this, that regardless of what anybody says, I have known him longer than anybody. And better than anybody. But I can, just to give you a background from the beginning, Elliot was born in a little town in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, who was called Jariales. And it was so coastal, so close to the water, that the ocean came in and took it away, but they started another one. So Elliot used that, Elliot used that to his advantage, because when we started dating, he said, you don't have to be shy with me because you and I probably played on the beach when you were little. And the parents, relocated to different places, and then eventually they both sets of parents ended up in New York City, in Brooklyn, and Elliot and I was a teenager, and I guess he was 20, something like that. And Elliot and I were able to reconnect just in time for Elliot to lay his eyes on me and decide he was going to marry me. So that's how it all went.